I often notice this gas station, built in 1929 at the corner of Commercial and Front Street in East Braintree, Wynot's service station. I tried to sketch it multiple times. It seemed to connect with the early days of automobiles. I searched the web about vintage gas stations and found the U.S. National Park Service recognizes them with a brief on the preservation of historic gas stations, quote unquote. Their photos of restored service stations show that. But why not's wall-to-wall windows struck me as the defining element. They reflected the much larger factory buildings of the period in miniature. This style dates from the early 1900s as the architecture for large factories of the automobile age evolved, primarily through the work of Albert Kahn and his younger brother Julius, who emigrated from Prussia as children with their Jewish family to Detroit in 1880. In 1903, Julius developed a new method for reinforcing concrete trusses with steel. The innovation made reinforced concrete construction practical and allowed for much larger open spaces with heavier load-bearing capacity than conventional wood brick construction. It was also less expensive than steel, and it was fireproof. And because floors rested on concrete pillars rather than load-bearing walls, the exterior walls were relatively open, allowing large, simple steel sash windows from floor to ceiling, light-admitting windows. The factories became known as daylight factories. Wynot's large steel windows are key character-defining features of the structure that should be preserved. But preserving and updating can become difficult and costly, though worth it. Removing and sealing rust, upgrading the glass for thermal comfort and impact resistance, adding shades, etc. But, tragically, 5 years after I sketched these, a new owner purchased the property and, quote, updated it, end quote, by totally boarding up each of the windows. It may still be possible to restore and upgrade these historic windows. Historic tax credits can overcome the higher costs, and restoration would contribute immensely to the authenticity of the building. Maybe they're still underneath the cover boards.